During this tutorial, we're going to cover some of the advanced features and capabilities when editing content inside the CMS for your website. So we're going to go ahead and log into the manager interface. And from here, we can pick any page in your resource tree. We covered some of the basic stuff before. This time we're going to go a little bit deeper into additional services and features that we can use when managing content. We briefly touched on the resource alias previously. This is a friendly name that we can use to identify a page which is built in the URL structure to gain access to the resource that we can optimize for search engine marketing and search engine optimization. The menu title allows us to overwrite the title of the page to something more specific or shorter or longer as needed when rendering menus. Link attributes are additional properties that we can define when the link is created that often is not used in the templates that we use across the sites. So for About Us, let's say that we wanted to change that instead of just About Us, we actually want to say About Modx Training. When we set that, we can go ahead and hit Save. And now when we refresh this, we should see the additional change. The title is now the menu title property and not just the standard title property of that page in the menu structure. So this gives us even more granular control over how resources are rendered in the front end to better be optimized for search ranking results. And if we delete that, it'll simply default back to the title of the page when empty. So additional settings in the Settings tab is we have Parent Resource. Parent Resource allows us to nest pages underneath another resource in a tree structure so that we can have sub-navigation menus and children of pages. So for About Us, if you wanted to actually make it a child page of home, if we left mouse click on that Parent Resource field and then it says to select the node to the left in the tree, we'll go ahead and click on Home. And now when we save that, we should see some additional changes in the document tree. So we'll go ahead and save it. And now we can see that About Us is nested underneath Home and the Home icon is now a folder versus a standard page icon. So that's one way that we can move a page around in the document tree and change its relationship to other pages. An alternative method would be to actually drag and drop capabilities of the document tree. If we left mouse click on About Us and hold it and drag it, we can pull that out from that document tree as well and move it so that it's no longer part of the home page. So now that Home is refreshed back to its original state and About Us is a standard page as well. We can also use this to impact the ordering of pages as far as menuing structure goes. So now that we've moved that to the end of the page resource list, when we view the site on the front end, we now see that it is now the last menu item in the tree. Modx CMS uses menu indexing, which is where we get the ordered items in the tree. So if you want to move that back up, again, we can left mouse click and drag it, and we'll get that bar across denoting where it's going to be released when we let go of the left mouse. So now that we have that, we can again validate that we did move it back to its original order. So that's a quick way that we can modify the overall document tree structure as far as adding new child pages or even moving existing pages around the document tree to get them structured to match our sitemap. So the resource types field, we have some options here. Document is a standard web page. Static resource would be if we have some promotional type material or other static element that we could load to the file system to directly reference. If you have a special page that has custom HTML and is fully styled, we can actually directly reference that as a static resource. Symlink allows us to create symbolic links across resources to where we can have two resources sharing the same content. An example of this would be if we have a marketing campaign that's going on and we have two separate channels of marketing, we can actually denote two separate URLs for those two channels and track them independently through symlink capabilities. WebLink allows us to create a full URL link to either an existing page on the site, or we can also create links to external pages. By doing it as an actual page, this allows us to actually create them as part of our menu structure versus just being a link inside of a content element. Additional settings include the publish on date. This is automatically set once the resource is set to published. Our publish date is where we can predefine a date that resource will become accessible to end users. So if we have a press release that's going to go out and we want to create that page ahead of time to get reviewed and make sure the styling and everything is correct prior to publishing it, we can create the resource and then set its publish date to a future date, let's say the 17th. We can set it to go at 1 a.m. By doing this, this page will not be accessible to end users until the 17th at 1 a.m. and then it'll automatically show up in the menu structure where denoted. The same for the unpublished date. We can actually force an item to become unaccessible at a given date and time by setting the unpublished date and time. So if we only want this item to be accessible for a month, we could change this and move it out a full month. So that now the only valid date range in which users would be able to view this page would be from the 17th of August to September 17th. And when these are empty, we're telling the system that to ignore these fields and automatically use the publish status as the values. We briefly covered template variables before. So again, template variables is where we have additional content that can be edited and modified for a page depending on its template. And those again may be part of this template variables section, or they can be additional tabs across the top. Resource groups would allow us to further restrict access to a content should there be an additional resource item group available to us. In this tutorial we do not have any, so we will not be setting any. Again, save changes will automatically save all the changes you've just made to the page. Some other items on the settings tab are these checkboxes down here on the right, which are container, searchable, rich text, freeze URI, cacheable, empty cache, and delete. The container checkbox basically tells the system that this is a parent page and contains child pages. That'll automatically be set immediately when a page is referenced as being a parent of another page in the system. Searchable checkbox tells the system that we do want to go ahead and index this for searching capabilities. Rich text automatically enables our rich text editor below in the content. Freeze URI is a new feature that allows us to freeze or keep a resource from losing its current URL alias access capabilities. So let's say we have some resource that we wanted to publish and that we want to always have accessible regardless of that name change. If we have an existing campaign promoting that URL and we know that that campaign is going to continue to go on, but for some reason we need to modify that current page title and resource alias for better search optimization, we can go ahead and freeze that URI so that we can still access it. Cacheable allows that page to be cached for faster access times and better results from a search perspective. Empty cache tells the system every time that we save the page to go ahead and clear the cache for that page and regenerate it on the next visit so that they get the freshest content. Deleted would be checked if the resource was deleted via the delete button or navigation but still available inside the database for publishing later. That concludes this tutorial.